So, what is going on, guys? This is Ryan here.
And this is the Ryan here.
Hey everyone, Razbowski here.
What's going on, guys? Dorko here.
And I'm Smike. Hey, guys.
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm going pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. So, in this episode, we actually brought Smike on to discuss quite a few interesting things. So, there's going to be 5 of us today, so you guys will surely enjoy this episode. And what we're actually going to be discussing is our ideas for Five Nights at Freddy's 4. So, to begin this talk, we're going to be talking about when we think this game will take place in terms of what time era it will be.
I had the idea that maybe it will take place the same time as Five Nights at Freddy's 3, because if you look at the teaser image, the Spring Freddy looks just like Spring Trap within the same withered condition.
Yes, it's got the same sort of the way his body has degraded over time. It's the same. It looks as if it was the same era that they were made, and I agree with the fact that they have faded over time a very similar sort of way, because even if you have a look at the holes all over the body like we discussed last week, it looks like it has been faded the same way over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a pretty smart point what you said there as well, how they're the same. And I've just realised as well that Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is a horror attraction. So are you trying to say that there was another horror attraction somewhere else at the same time period? Because this new Freddy thing, like we discussed last week, it's been changed, literally changed. It's got sharp nails. It looks really horrifying especially with the Freddy's coming out of its body as well. So maybe this was used for the horror attraction somewhere else.
Right, yeah.
Definitely. And if you remember back to the very first call of Five Nights at Freddy's 3, the phone dude actually says, "Welcome back again," or something along those lines. He hints that you've been there before, that we don't see in the game. So perhaps you have already seen this animatronic, or maybe you were working at a similar location somewhere else.
Well, you know what I think? I think it's maybe possible that this is maybe Golden Freddy. Is that possible?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
There were 2 suits originally, there was Springtrap and a Golden Freddy, potentially.
I mean, when we looked at this image, we've all kind of discussed the fact that there's kind of this red light which seems to be purging over the actual suit's colour. And that could mean that it's some kind of, a shiny colour. And the reflections and refractions being cast off of it. It's giving the illusion that it's this deeper red colour. So we don't actually know the exact colour of this suit just yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure I saw a picture on Reddit somewhere that somebody had taken away the red hue, and it was very similar to Springtrap's colour. You know how he's that sort of greeny yellow?
Yeah.
If you fade out the reds, I've done that in a picture, it fade down the reds and it looks just like the same kind of colour as Springtrap is. But
Yeah, that's
going
interesting.
On, Dorko's point as well is that the thing that maybe back up that is obviously the word nightmare at the bottom of the image. I mean, that kind of represents a horror attraction, and
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, I think maybe Nightmare represents the little Freddy beasts over him.
Yeah, we said that, yeah.
And also I think that, Phone Guy in Five Nights 3, he mentioned that there was a second suit that was, that malfunctioned other than Springtrap. And so I think this might potentially be that possibly.
I think an interesting point about that is I believe it's either number 2 or 3. They talk about the Five Nights at the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza having sister locations, which means there was of course more than one chain.
Right.
So Springtrap could have well been in one chain with the Spring Freddy character being in another. So possibly
in a safe room,
maybe like they when they opened up the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 horror attraction, they found Springtrap in the first one. And, if they found one in a week, maybe the second week rolled over after the fire, maybe they were digging in and they may have found this second suit. And, that may kind of entwine itself within maybe the Five Nights at Freddy's 4, because we all know that Springtrap seem to live in one way or another.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking that, the timeline, that's obviously Scott just muddles up the timeline. He pretty much, I don't know what he does. He must post just pictures on the wall and just think, I'm going to do it in this order or something like that. But basically, we know that he has, 2 kind of timelines. He has the current one where you're the night guard, and the mini games where it kind of goes back in time. So I reckon that maybe one of the mini games will go back to the bite of 1987, just to show the events of what happened.
Yeah, that's possible.
He's wanting to tie up everything, because this is his final game, the final chapter sort of thing.
Yeah.
So he's going to need to tie up what happened in the past, as well as finishing off the story in, the timeline present. It's obviously in the future for us right now.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the Nightmare Night, which links into this possible name for this new Freddy animatronic. We've got the newspaper where it says that Fazbear Frights burns down. If you highlight the image, then you will see potentially Springtrap lying on the ground in the back of the image. Behind the toy Freddy. So it kind of looks like something else is going to happen after Fazbear Frights.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe the whole game, as you were saying, is based around this auction or whatever happens to the remaining articles. And then in the mini games, it goes back to 1987, solves everything there.
Yeah.
So he gets to solve two timelines at the same time in the final game, which is just going to be fantastic.
I mean, we kind of spoke about this whole idea of a metaphor as well for the nightmare. When you beat it, of course, you get the newspaper, and it's almost like, you know, Springtrap's focused on the Freddy, and now all of a sudden we've got this explosion, and this whole new Freddy character's come to light. So, yeah, it's kind of like a representation of what's going to happen, possibly a representation of what might be coming in the next game, and kind of just hinting that Freddy is going to play a massive role in Five Nights at Freddy's 4.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, already you can see also the hat, you know, it has like some wires hanging out of it, and so like this is obviously an animatronic, not just a suit, but like I think this could also very well be that second suit. And also the thing is, like you said, you mentioned the sister location. I don't know if you guys know about this concept called Chekhov's gun.
No, never heard of that
it's
before.
just like a narrative concept, may not necessarily apply here, but it just says that usually when someone presents an element in a story, that will return eventually in the story. And so maybe I'm thinking that, you know, all these things he talks about maybe will return in the fourth game, like the sister location.
Okay,
Interesting.
Stuff,
That's interesting.
Nice.
I think another thing I'm really intrigued with as well with this animatronic is, you know, usually when the animatronics seem to come into operation, they always seem to have some kind of glowy hue coming from the eyes. But in this image, it's, you know, the eyes are absolutely, they're so black, you can't see a thing in there. Like, usually we have the distinctive whites if we know someone's inside of them. Or
True.
Usually if the puppet seems to be manipulating them, this one's a speculation. In my opinion, the eyes seem to turn white definitely when the puppet seems to be manipulating them and creating a more paranormal element, which is tying into the suits, but there's nothing here yet. We can see there's definitely some characteristics, the way he's holding the hat, focusing on wherever this camera was positioned at, so he's meant to look alive.
Definitely.
Kind of like a Freddy Krueger type of killer or something. With the hands.
Almost.
I saw loads of things about Freddy Krueger on Reddit and stuff.
The similarities with the nightmare reference and the fingers and
I mean, this is definitely the most surreal, I'd say, teaser, you know, with the pointy fingers and all the
and the dark background and just the whole red theme for it.
Kind
the whole website's been manipulated and changed. It's just it's meant to look like a horror.
Even the source code and the image has like a bunch of 8s and 7s and codes everywhere.
The release date too as well.
It's definitely setting up for a scary Halloween release. Definitely.
Exactly.
So a question that's hovering quite a lot lately is, how will the game play? That is, how will Five Nights at Freddy's 4 function? So what are your guys' thoughts on the game mechanics?
I personally believe that the hallucinations will still like stay in place, because I mean, from the image we can see, I doubt that those mini Freddys are real. I mean, if they are, then that is terrifying, but if they're real, then like I was saying, it could be a hallucination, maybe playing with your mind. Maybe they alter like the devices that you're meant to keep like doing bad stuff, if you know what I mean.
I don't think it'll stray too far away from what has made Scott's game so popular.
Absolutely.
No way.
Shutting the doors, and it would be nice for him to try and incorporate a couple of the things he's done before, like closing the doors. I really like closing doors. There's just something so satisfying about
Slamming
closing the door and saying,
I think, Raz, I think I can answer your question. It's because most of the time you survive.
Then I want for the whole game mechanics, I want not only this Freddy, I want to see some more of the original animatronics in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the question I was thinking of. Will there be any other animatronics within this?
I mean, there's gotta be. I mean, he wants to introduce something new each game, so we've got obviously the toy ones in 2 and the marionette and balloon boy, and then in the third one we had Springtrap. So hopefully in this fourth one, the new one is this Freddy character we've seen, but I want Chica and Foxy and that back in there, because it's the final game. So having them back in it, I really would love that to happen.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest as well, I don't think it really matters if it's an hallucination or just a normal animatronic, because you're still going to get the scares from them anyway. Gotcha. And what I was thinking as well is, because if this is actually a sequel to Five Nights at Freddy's 3 or something about the auction, maybe they might build some different animatronics as well, and it gives Scott a chance to change the game style once again, see different things. Just like he did with Five Nights at Freddy's 2. We didn't expect to see different animatronics and toy animatronics and Balloon Boy.
I was going to say,
and
that still
puppet.
remains a bit of a mystery to this day, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, every single game so far has had the original crew in one form or another, right?
Yes.
Even Five Nights 3 in one
yeah.
way. So, I mean, I don't know if you'll be able to pull that same exact thing, like just be able to put the hallucinations back into the third game. But it seems like there is some kind of hallucinatory thing going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but for the game mechanics, I would like to see, like Raz said, the doors come back. I really like them. The third game was good.
Yeah,
the
that
doors,
kind of,
really, I just love them. Yeah.
Yeah, it did create kind of like a whole new feel to it. It was another mechanic, and you had to keep your eyes peeled, especially like the simple things like winding up the music box as well. I think Five Nights at Freddy's 2 introduced that concept, and rather than just worrying about them coming in your office, you had to worry about so many more things, and it wasn't overwhelming. It was kind of like the perfect balance between what you want to see in a game.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, we got a comment from a guy called Stephen Gaming. That's a shout out for you. I hope you're listening. But,
Hi, Steve.
Five Nights at Freddy's basically saying in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, there are door, lights, and cameras. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, there's no doors, there is lights and there's cameras. Five Nights at Freddy's 3, there's no doors and lights, but there is cameras. So it's Five Nights at Freddy's no doors, no lights, and no cameras.
Right.
So literally, imagine that. Oh my god.
In terms of the game mechanics, looking at these small Freddy characters, Ryan, you said that I should say other Ryan, you said that they may not be real, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I'm actually looking at these guys, and I'm thinking, like, they have a bit of character in them. If you look at the way they're kind of positioned, you've kind of got the dominant Freddy in the background looking into the camera. So he's obviously aware of you almost. It's kind of like hinting that he's going to be coming for you. But these other guys, they look like really mischievous. They're not really bothered by the camera, almost like kids.
Right.
Kind of just interested to kind of wreak havoc and those razor sharp teeth, they could I can imagine they can do a lot of things. A couple of things I thought about for game mechanics is maybe if you're looking for this Spring Freddy character in whatever environment we're in, you might try and look into a camera, and the little guy might have climbed up and sort of be facing right in the camera so you can't see a thing.
God.
That
one
one
in the back room.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So kind of blocking out the view. And another thing I also thought is that we kind of saw these animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's 3 and they're all burnt. That is the past ones. And when you can see the puppet in camera 8, he is not burnt at all, which leads me to believe he's still kind of existing and he's not burnt. So, I kind of think there might be a paranormal element entwined within the game with the marionette, or should I say, the puppet still remaining alive, kind of controlling and driving these suits. Because,
yes.
When he actually pops out of the prize corner box, he doesn't actually have the white eyes. It's not until he attacks you. So,
yes.
And this guy here, he's not got the white eyes at all. They're jet black. So, there could be a link between possibly the puppet and this guy. As we know in the give cake to the children minigame, many speculate this to be the puppet who's killed the child, that is. And he's seeing the Freddy character last, so, maybe this character here could be linked within that.
Interesting.
Yeah, like that Freddy guy on the mini game.
Yeah.
Where that child does die by the purple man. People are saying that that's the Freddy animatronic. What we see. On
that's
the
what I
teaser
was
picture.
thinking too. He's distinctively different in his build and the way he looks in the mini games.
Yeah, I mean, could that be by any chance Fredbear? Yeah.
Yes.
Quite possibly.
Or the sister location.
Yeah, this goes back to the sister locations. Here we go. So this
Yes.
could have been kind of Fredbear in that location, aka who we're seeing in this image. And maybe the Spring Bonnie would have been elsewhere, because back in the day, these kind of things would have been very expensive.
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
so,
definitely.
Exactly.
Keeping with a realistic style, maybe that was an element Scott tried to link in with it. Considering we know, of course, the sister location is more than one, it may just be a possibility.
Right.
It's like the way the sister location was mentioned is too important. Like Smike was saying, he's got to come back to it. He's got to come back to the sister location. You can't just drop it in there as something that's, by the way, some shit went down in the, excuse my language, some stuff went down in a sister location, and we should just forget about that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I agree with both of you, actually, because, the possibility also is that who knows what the movie's going to have, right? So, I mean, in a way, Scott might also just be building a sandbox for some other stuff, in the future, possibly. They might make a movie. Maybe he'll just, just in case, add some possible backstory, for the future, for if they want to do a second movie or a trilogy. So you never know. Maybe he's going to leave some extra space there.
So just before we kind of end this section and go on to the final portion, one question that's been hovering around in my mind is the idea of the relics. Now, in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, we know there was a lot of relics, and you're seeing all these key characters scattered around the location. But if the puppet is still existing, going back to the point I made earlier, maybe he can kind of haunt these suits and allow them to move around. So rather than just Spring Freddy you've got to worry about, it might kind of entwine itself, and that's how you might see these different characters interacting in the environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention as well the mini games as well. Do you think he's going to add again?
I think
mini
so.
games?
Absolutely.
He has to. I mean, they're like a classic.
It's like
they're crucial to the storyline now. Like with Five Nights at Freddy's 3, the mini games have kind of told a storyline. They're still quite confusing, and I think a lot of people are still in debate as to what the finalized meaning was. But they're there to definitely build on the story. And if this is the final chapter, as he's saying, I think the mini games will probably fit in nicely to describe possibly the events of 1987 and a couple of other things that we're still a bit skeptical of.
Yeah, because the phone calls and the mini games are Scott's device in telling the story. Because obviously, shutting doors and putting a mask on is not really telling any story. That's just
there's only so long the phone guy can talk for every night, isn't there, to give information. So having these mini games, it really does kind of build on the story a heck of a lot.
I was just gonna say, also from a game development standpoint, they make sense because Scott is making these games, solo by himself. It's also they're pretty easy to make, and he also has like games he made before. From like a resourcefulness standpoint, it makes it more, it's like I think that's where it came from. Actually, it's just an easy way to like portray some backstory and add free roaming without really adding free roaming to the game.
Yeah, and it turns out pretty much everyone loved it. So kudos to Scott.
In Five Nights at Freddy's 2, we got cutscenes. Do you remember the cutscenes?
Yes, the dream sequences.
I would really, really like to see some more cutscenes for the last game.
That would be great. Awesome.
It would be interesting to see how he puts them in, because he had in the second game the cutscenes were in between the nights, which got replaced in 3 for the mini games, because the mini games were when he died in the second game. So
they were originally meant to be a secret Easter egg type thing rather than being a prominent thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking that maybe what if the cutscenes are like what happened after the fire? Maybe like you can see
that would be good.
You can see like Springtrap lying there on the floor, kind of like blinking, and maybe the puppets there in the doorway, like looking at him, and then it ends and night one.
That's a cool concept. I like that one. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah,
definitely.
I agree.
So if you want to put that in, Scott, you know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, Five Nights 2 had cutscenes. Why not Five Nights 4? We know it's a possibility.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And to finalize this podcast, how do you guys think the whole franchise of Five Nights at Freddy's will end?
I believe that hopefully, I'm trying to think how this will end now, actually, because the purple guy's been killed, but there's rumored to be 2 purple guys, isn't there?
Yes.
Like maybe I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe I don't know where the location will be based. I was hoping maybe a museum, as that would be pretty awesome, and maybe they get investigated for something of murders or something. But it would be awesome to see like I don't know, the purple guy in the establishment as you're playing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, maybe like in a corner, kind of secluded, so you'd at least know he's in the environment. Because well, from the games now, we know that he's always kind of been in the environments with you, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just kind of leaving questions.
There's a lot that we still don't know, but so this new game is going to have Scott's going to have to put a lot of information in it, so maybe this is why he's given himself so much time to make the game, because the time in between the second and third was next to nothing. There really wasn't too much of a gap between the first and the second either. So,
which is good, because it'll give him a lot more time to build the story and really finalize it.
Yeah, and make it because if it's going to be told over 6 nights again, he can really tighten it up, and maybe in between the nights the mini games can be larger, or as we were talking before, maybe there'll be a mini game, and if you do something right in the mini game, then maybe you'll get a cutscene.
Right. Yeah.
Because you know how you went and collected give the cakes to the kids in the third game. Yes. Maybe if you did a similar thing, you got the secret would be a cutscene where you got to see some sort of aspect. Maybe it was actually see the purple guy in action. Not physically, obviously not physically stabbing someone.
Right.
But somewhere, some sort of line solving what the purple guy is up to. Maybe his motivation behind things. Maybe seeing what happens to Springtrap and the puppet after the fire. He could jump about. He could jump about in timelines quite easily if he does it like that, and it'd be a nice way to solve and round off the whole story.
Well, there was actually a really big point that I kind of want to stress in this, because this is where the storyline doesn't make too much sense, and it goes back to a video me and Other Ryan produced a while ago talking about why there will never be a good ending. And I think a lot of people didn't really understand the message we were kind of trying to derive to you guys through that. Basically, in the throughout the minigames in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, we're constantly working to kind of free this one child, and in the Happiest Day minigame, we play as the marionette, and we seem to free this child by giving him the cake, and we watch all the masks drop, and last but not least, the marionette mask seems to drop. Now, a lot of people are speculating that this took place before Five Nights at Freddy's 3, possibly between 1 and 3. Now, this wouldn't actually make a whole lot of sense, considering going back to Camo 8, we can see the marionette still in its kind of physical form. So this is going back to the point of, was the bad ending meant to be the real ending we got? So the souls are still trapped. And
Yeah.
I think that would make a whole lot more sense because, you know, if so, why are we seeing the puppet's soul still if he's already freed?
That's perfect. Yeah, that's what me and Raz spoke about that before.
Yeah.
And it's because how complicated to get the good ending is, and you have to click walls and click on posts on the cameras. We were saying that it's too like surreal to be real, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and, you know, without the internet, especially for this one, there's no way you'd find out these sort of things on the wall, especially the wall panel thing. It's so unclear. I mean, you expect to beat a game, this is something I stated, when you beat a game, you expect to be rewarded with a good ending, of course. Right. And, I mean, you play the game how it was intended to be played the first time. You know, you're not supposed to know all this stuff. And instantly you're rewarded with the bad ending, and you really have to work for this alternate ending. Right. So it's almost like you were supposed to get the bad ending, which will then possibly lead on to the next point. Yeah,
it is because what me and Docker were talking about. If you say you were taking this on face value and you were playing the game. I could understand if you got a good ending by doing something different, like saying picking up a knife and stabbing the purple man. So obviously he couldn't go around killing the children, which would turn into a good ending. But because you're having to glitch through walls, it's too... Obviously this game is fantasy, so take this...
It's surreal, isn't it?
It's too fantastical to see jumping through a wall and giving cake, and the only way to give cake to people is by grabbing balloons in Balloon Boy's game and then using Mangle to go and find a cake, and then using the rest of the mini games to give cake. It's just, and it would make more sense, and it would be a more satisfying ending to the game if it was a bad ending, because the children,
it would lead on.
No matter what happened, like the children are dead. That's already sad, and it's already a bad thing. And I think the good ending, it was something Scott just added in there for replayability, for just extra enjoyment.
Sure, and if we take the mini games like literally as events that actually happened, you know, how could the Mangle glitch out of the wall, you know, and go underground, fall into a crying puppet pit, you know, with a tree and some Balloon Boys,
and the Balloon Boy graveyard and things like that.
It's very symbolical,
superstitious, and very.
And with the bad ending as well, me and Raz were saying this again. With the bad ending, you get the lights inside the heads, and that's exactly the same as how they are set in the attraction. The horror attraction, they have lights inside their heads.
Even the image for the horror attraction, when it says it's opening, the lights are straight on in Freddy's head.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I think what we all like to see is the demise of this killer, in honesty. Maybe we'd like to see, you know, night 5, we get a phone call saying, we caught a guy trying to lead another, trying to kill someone or something, an employee or something like that, and he's now in our custody. I'd like to see it like he actually gets caught and arrested, but maybe ended on a little twist as well. Like, I don't know, obviously there's not going to be any more, but just like on a way where you can still question what happened, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
As long as the story is left us feeling satisfied and with a little bit of mystery, I think everybody will be happy. It doesn't need to be completely 100% solved. I think solving the Bite of 87 is a must. Finding out who the purple guy is a must. And for overall, I don't mind if it's a sad ending, if it's a happy ending, as long as we're left satisfied with a cheeky little bit of mystery in there still.
Yeah.
Another thing about the good ending and bad ending is that the bad ending's like it's just there, it ends. But is it the good ending where you actually get the piano music, or is that the bad ending as well?
Both.
The good
is it
both?
It
might be both.
I thought the bad ending was like
it was a more dramatic. It reminded me of Resident Evil almost.
Yeah. See, I was gonna say, you know, if it was only in the good ending, like why would the good ending make you feel sad? But if it's in both, then it's good.
And also I think, like, personally, ultimately, what I'd like to see most of all is in the 4th game, just some kind of a super cool Easter egg hunt. Kind of like in Five Nights 3, you know, some secret stuff. I mean, Scott is just really good at putting secret stuff in the game, you know, like these death screens that have like a 0.1001% chance of happening, you know, that kind of stuff. And I really love that. I think that's what Scott, he's really, really good hyping us with some secret like Easter egg hunts. I just want to see more of that, really, to be honest. Yeah,
I think the issue with Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was that you could always experience these things. If you knew how to do it, you were going to get it. But, you know, there's no way you can force one of the Easter egg mini games to occur. And I think one of the good things that we can all think about in this is the fact that Scott's given himself a heck of a lot more time to perfect this game. So I think there's going to be so much entwined within it. I really do. And it's going to satisfy just about every form of game player who enjoyed the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
What Ryan said as well, I found that really cool. A really cool idea about the phone calls telling more of the story about an investigation.
Right. Yeah.
I'd really like it if Phone Guy was back and he said, "Oh, there's an investigation going on. For example, we found a guy called Mike Schmidt or something like that to reveal us." I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. There's so many questions left. I mean, I could go through a whole list on an A4 piece of paper, make it A3, and I'd still be going.
Yeah, but I still think that Scott's gonna leave like at least a few loose ends, because that's where the theories really come in. It's always so fun to theorize, even if sometimes it's like not every theory is gonna end up true, but that's kind of the fun of it. Kind of like
absolutely. That's what makes it a theory, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what makes the community come alive.
Absolutely.
It's
yeah,
awesome.
it's true. The community's built on theories, and I think the speculative nature is just, it's always interesting because there's so many stories, and then when there's some light that sheds through one of these theories, it's just so intriguing. You can really invent it, you can investigate it, and you can find endless parts of information which both go for and against it. It's so great, and as you say, I hope some things are left unanswered for that simple
absolutely.
fact.
And I think when I played this game, Alan Wake, you guys might know of it. Like at the end, that's what he said exactly. There was some mysteries left unanswered, and he said, sometimes it's best. And that's really what sticks with you. It's the mysteries unanswered more than the answers that reveal everything.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Before we end this, I just want to say I really respect, all of your YouTube channels, all your work. I think what you guys are doing is really awesome. Sincerely, I'm pretty honored to be here. When I started doing, Fnaf videos, I never really expected to be, part of the community in that sense. But all of you guys are.
But now you're the king of
no,
you're the driving force,
actually,
man.
if you think about it, you guys have actually grown much more faster than me in terms of when the channel started. I've been doing this for like 4 years, so it's different. And you guys, you're all fresh channels. And, you've just grown so fast.
I would say, yeah.
Really proud of you guys.
Thanks,
man. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Thanks, man.
Fantastic. Yeah, and as more news goes, I think S5 should definitely have a couple more discussions, because this was great. And it's such a change from all of us posting individual content. We can all kind of entwine our ideas together, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a great change. It just goes to show we're all as one, and, these people making these stories that we're against one another, it's all false. We're all in it together.
Yeah, exactly.
I've always, one big community
I've never really understood people who say that YouTube is a competition, and, you're supposed to sort of, undermine others. Really, YouTube, if you look, it's always, there's a strength in numbers. And, when one channel rises, other channels also rise. It's all just,
it's the whole community aspect of it. Like, I'm really good friends with you guys now, and it has been amazing to speak to Smike today as well, man. And get your point of view and stuff and everything. And
same.
As you said, it's the theories are just, I don't know. It's we could just talk about it all day. We talked easily for half an hour there, and we could talk all day.
It's a totally different new way that the gaming community's gone. Usually it's all about gameplays, and now it's about discussing the games in a different manner, and it's so interesting. And just because of the uniqueness of it, I think it's so fresh, and it's going to be one of those new things I think that will stay around on YouTube for a long, long time.
Absolutely,
I think Scott set the bar pretty high as well.
Yes, he did.
He really has.
He did, didn't he? A lot of pressure on this one guy. But he's handling it really well. He's really, taking it very well.
So there we have it, guys. There's once again another Theory Thursday for you all. We really hope you did enjoy this video. Thanks once again to Dorko, Razbowski, Smike, and also other Ryan and myself for all taking part in this one. It was great fun.
You're thanking yourself.
Why not? I'm shaking my own hand as we're speaking right now. So, guys, if you did, of course, enjoy the video, be sure to like it. And hey, if you're new around here, subscribe to all of our channels, because we're going to be doing many other theory-based content. And the Theory Thursdays is going to be a continuing thing for a long, long time, because it's great fun. And it's great hearing you guys and having all your guys' input in the comment section to both contrast and also add to all the things we discuss in the video. So, once again, guys, thank you very much for watching this episode. And we'll, of course, see you on the next video on all of our channels.
Goodbye, guys. Bye.